We finished our season above 500, but it just was not enough to sneak our way into the postseason. And wait, there's a plane coming into the airport. It looks like we might have a returning player from overseas. Not sure who it might be. We already know Tanaka is already here. Hell, he's been here for several years, so who could it possibly be? Seems to be a lot of media standing by. Baggage claim. And oh, it's Kenta Maeda. Kenta Maeda is coming back to the NPB after spending about 9 years in the Major League Baseball. Former Hiroshima Toyo Carp. Now, admittedly, he is older, but he does come with some pluses as he's picked up some big game experience, able to pitch in the big stage, obviously, of Major League Baseball. It is where the best continue to go to play. Picking up some new pitches, picking up some new tendencies, which might help him in the later portion of his career. It is not out of the question for a Japanese player to play well into their 40s. Maeda, unfortunately, he has lost his slider, which has now become a cutter. He's lost some fatigue, recovery, obviously at the age of 36, some stamina, some of his arm strength, the velo, his curve, and his changeup both have lost some break, and his shuto has also lost some velocity and control. But in the meantime, he has picked up a two-seam fastball, picked up some of that velocity there, and has pretty good control of it. So we'll see what he can do for the Toyo Carp, and hopefully he doesn't kick our behind here. Some people are saying that in free agency we should pick up this reliever here. He's a left-hander, does throw some pretty good pitches. I don't know how much in the way we're going to do as far as free agency is concerned. Like, we do have the money. It's just a lot of guys don't move all that much in free agency. He's at least a good base runner, but who cares about that? He's very much better with inside pitches, good, able to hide the baseball. Obviously is better as a middle reliever or a closer, though. If he gets in a 3-ball count, it's going to be a problem. He's able to keep the ball down. And, we'll see if Taguchi actually is in our plans. I don't exactly know the league, so I don't know how much I'm going to do as far as wheeling and dealing and throwing money around. We did make a decent amount of money, though it doesn't show here. That should not be yen. That should just be the total attendance. Almost 2 million fans came out to watch us at a 91.2 seat capacity, which is honestly pretty good. Pretty good if I do say so ourselves. As far as money to spend, we came up with about 1 billion yen to play with initially, and we have picked up 5.1 billion more. And that may sound like a large number. The dollar compared to the yen, it's about 150 yen to a dollar. So I don't feel like mathing that, but we have a decent amount of money, and NPB contracts don't tend to be anywhere near as high as they are in MLB. So no Juan Soto stuff here. Dallas Keuchel, I am going to transition him into a pitching coach. Sorry, an overseas scout, because, well, he didn't pitch all that well, and I don't really want to lose the fact that he is a foreigner. It can help us with finding players from overseas. There is a limit. I don't know if I want to change that. We are going to up. This is Kikuchi's contract. Give him about 2 more years on top of what he asked for. Everybody pretty much only asked for a 1-year deal. And here are some of the retirees across the league. I think maybe had a couple. Nobody that was really a huge presence for our squad last year, so any players that we did lose, we're not too concerned about losing them. Besides, we kind of need to get younger anyhow. Lower right, that is Mima, a 14-year veteran, retiring at the age of 38. I tried to make him become a coach or a scout. I didn't really see a fit, and none of his attributes or abilities were anything higher than okay. And we jump into the most interesting draft of all of the sports across any league. I promise you this. It is the NPB draft. First round, it is by nomination. So everybody gets to pick amongst the entire pool of players. They all put it in a hat or envelope or whatever, and you choose. If there's a tie, then the player is chosen by lottery. So say there's 3 teams. They all choose the same player. All the names go in the hat. They pull out one. Boom. Somebody gets them. That is the #1 player in all of the draft. He seems not too shabby as a pitcher, though. I would have preferred to have a position player just because we need some more position players. I might have too many pitchers on the roster. This dude is not too shabby, really. He could be the next ace, and he'd come in as a pretty decent player. Overall star ratings, players tend to fall under 500, and really most tend to settle in between about 180 and 320. So if we can get a player that at 17 years old, straight out of high school, is already 260 to 290 as a lefty pitcher, he is going to be a serious problem. Though he will take a little bit of seasoning to really get their game in order, as some team strategy is to just go after the best player and hope that their name gets picked. Others, you kind of want to dig through the crates, so to speak, and find a player that maybe nobody is really in on, and you can scoop them up, and they could be pretty good nonetheless. And you don't have to deal with the disappointment of, man, we could have got the best player, whereas, yo, we got a pretty good player for where we were. After a lot of digging around, I decided I wanted to go after a player that had multi-positional versatility. This young man plays both first, third, and the corner outfield, and does have experience playing in high-stakes games. I know the letter grades don't look great, but I think he's well on his way to being a very solid player at 21 years old. He very well could be playing, if not this upcoming season in 25, definitely in 2026. Still going to do a little bit more looking around. This individual plays left and left field and all of the outfield spots, as well as the corners. You know what, actually, this player has a better arm and might play better defense in general. We're going to take him here, Sikimizu, born May 25th, 2002, low trajectory hitter, kind of injury prone, average base runner, solid base stealer, kind of struggles in 2-strike counts, but he has the aptitude to play in the corner, outfield, and third base. Hits pitches usually high in the zone and straight down the middle, so could be pretty solid. It might be a little bit before we see him, though. We could really use the depth. Moving along into round 2, of course, I'm going to do a hell of a lot of digging around. In the second round on forward, it is all snake draft, going backwards and forwards, so no different than fantasy. So we start from the worst teams, kind of snake our way up, and then in round 3, we go back from top team on, forward or backwards, so to speak. It is probably the fairest way to get this all situated. This is, again, the #1 player in all of catcher. I don't think we need a catcher, but I would like someone with a little bit more upside at the same position. He also plays the corner outfield and first. We don't really have a backup first in case Soto gets hurt. He is a power hitter, and this individual here is also a power hitter, or could be a power hitter. Honestly, just like MLB The Show, catchers don't really hit for contact like that, so if you get a guy that can hit at a D level, you just take it. This is Akaishi. Probably butchered that. I am sorry. 8'1", 2006, low trajectory hitter, extremely injury prone. We're going to have to work on a lot of what he does. Is a push hitter, though, as opposed to a pull hitter. Hits pitches more middle and low in the zone as opposed to up high. So when we do play with him, I will try to make it a point to hit pitches that are low in the zone. He has 62 speed. I might work on some of that base stealing. It might help with his ability to play in the outfield if we ever absolutely need him to. In every sports game, I have just one position that I have absolutely no problem drafting. In baseball, it's pitching. I will always draft a pitcher if anything, if nothing else. Football, offensive line. Basketball, I'll always try to find somebody who's kind of a swingman. But nonetheless, this is baseball. This guy does not hit at all. I mean, granted, he is a pitcher. So we're going to take him on Nashimoto, 731.02. I do like his upside. He already starts out at 303 stars. Projects as a middle reliever, throws a four-seam sinker, forkball, cutter, and a vertical slurve, which I still can't get clarification as to what the heck that is, but I don't care. I'll have our coaches work on him to make that pitch even more devastating to batters. And if I need him to, he looks like the type that might be able to go out there and pitch 2-3 times a week with the C fatigue recovery. We'll see. Unlikely to get hurt. Terrible bunter, strikeout master, and works the inside part of the plate, but does struggle in 3-ball counts to get that pitch over. Might just serve one up, and we really don't need that, but at such a young age for a pitcher, we're going to work on him with our pitching coach. Really wish it was Dallas Keuchel. He did win the Cy Young at one point. That was the 4th round. We jumped to the 5th. 69 of 70 roster spots filled, and I think I like this young man right here. 17 years old, has some positional versatility. It's weird he can play center, shortstop, and second base, though he might not be that fast and doesn't have much of an arm and can't hit worth a damn, but he's 17, so he's got plenty of time to work on his game. Though, as you know, in MPB, players can get called up a lot sooner than they do in Major League Baseball. You could be down in the minors for like 7-8 years, whereas here, Bonba, he might be up in, I'd say, maybe like 2 or 3. Don't worry, I'm blocking the hitting stats for a very good reason. They're not that good. Medium trajectory hitter, so like line drive kind of guy. Seems to be very injury prone, but is a solid bunter, solid with runners in scoring position, has unpredictable power, so you never know when he's gonna just pop on, and usually when he does, he starts to feel himself, and he's, you know what, I think I could smack out another, which plays in our favor. Much better hitter lower in the zone than really the upper half, and has best contact when there's nobody on, nobody out, which I can understand. That's a lot less pressure on a player of his caliber. And jumping into the 6th, which we don't have to do because we don't have any more roster spots. I would cut somebody, but I can't from this screen. So that will be the end of the draft, and we jump into spring training. We've got a lot of money to spend, and we've got to figure out where we want to, I guess, hold spring camp. We've got 2.6 billion in which to play with in terms of yen. And our choices are, we go nowhere at the bottom. Okinawa, which is 200 million yen. Hawaii, which is 300 million yen. And Australia, which is 500 million yen. And you know what? I ain't never been to Australia. I'm sure some of these players have not either. Let's go down under. I think it'll be good. And what the hell? I got the money. I might as well spend it. Following spring camp, we're going to take a look at the results report. Because, I mean, I spent all that money. It's got to be worth it, right? Karakawa's fastball control has gone up from a C to a B. Actually, I believe he has another pitch that is also going up 1 as well. Reliever Nakamura has picked up some break on his vertical slider, which kind of seems like a changeup. I'm still not sure about that. Swing pitcher Nishino has picked up some break on his curveball, slow curve to be exact. Nashimoto, player we just drafted, picks up some arm strength, and that's defensive arm strength, +2. Azuma has picked up some control on his vertical slider. It's good to see from the 29-year-old. Same thing goes for Yoshida, picking up +1 on his vertical slider. Yoda picks up +3 at fatigue recovery. We will need some of these bullpen arms multiple games. Ono picks up +1 on his curveball. Akiyama goes up with his fatigue recovery, +1, as does his stamina going up +1. Hayasaka gets a +2 in fatigue recovery and a +3 in stamina. And picks up some vertical slider control. Good to see he's working hard this spring. Kawamura goes up with his curveball +1 for its control. Forkball also gets a +1 upgrade. For position players, Tarachi gets a +1 against right-handed contact and gets a +1 for left-handed contact. Catcher Matsukawa gets a +1 on his base running ability. +2 on his fatigue recovery, which I didn't know that the position players needed, but good to know. And gets a little bit better at learning the catching position. Whoa, and probably the biggest upgrade, +9 to his catching. That's bananas. He seems to have taken a huge leap in this offseason. Going up with his throwing arm and his accuracy. There's a lot more improvement, but I'm just not going to show you guys all. We have officially reached the beginning of the regular season. We've got a little over 2 billion yen to play with, so we could acquire some players. But you will see the opening game on the next one. Please subscribe to see it.